Colon cancer is the fourth most common cancer in the US, yet I can't tell you how many times patients will kind of hesitate and not really want to get their colonoscopy done when it's time for it to be done at age 45. So I had a colonoscopy today, and I've taken some footage of my experience with the prep and the types of things you can eat and the aftermath of the procedure. So that's going to come in a few seconds here. But one thing I wanted to comment on that I didn't get a chance to do when I was making those other clips in this video is the prep. So I was told when I got the prescription for the prep to come through to my pharmacy that it was going to be $160 some, and that was through some mail order pharmacy I'd never heard of. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then they said, but we can get it to you for $50. Just give us your information. I still thought that was a little weird. So I contacted one of the pharmacists through our hospital system. I told him the situation, and I was like, well, it seems like this should be much cheaper, if not free, because a screening colonoscopy should be free. And she said, oh yeah, it should be free. We have a generic version of that same stuff if you get it through our pharmacy. So I asked them, the digestive center, to send it over to the hospital-based pharmacy, and they sent it there, and it was a $0 copay. So $160 medication that they were going to charge me $50 for ended up being free. So it's not a bad idea to ask about that if they say that you have to take this prep that is going to be very expensive. But with that said, and without further ado, here is my experience with a colonoscopy. I've got a colonoscopy tomorrow. That is a test that is done to screen for colon cancer, or if you've got gastrointestinal symptoms. And tomorrow is my time to see how this test goes. It's the gold standard for screening for colon cancer, so it's a good idea to get it done anyway. I'm about to start my prep. So that is going to involve this liquid that I have to drink mixed with water over the next half hour or so, and then I have to drink 32 ounces of water after that. What this contains is sodium sulfate, potassium sulfate, and magnesium sulfate. Those are 3 different salts. And so I'm going to guess that this stuff's pretty salty. You need to mix it in this container here. Start off with some water. Let's see. Smells like medicine. Cherry flavored medicine. All right, there's the fill line. I hope it doesn't taste super salty because I can't stand salty things. But you got to do what you got to do. So you don't want to chug this. You want to take it in slowly over a 30-minute period. Otherwise, bad things could happen probably. Oh, that is so gross. Oh, super salty medicine taste. Oh, okay. So the timer starts. I've got a half hour to get this down. Oh, and then I'm going to have to do another one of these tomorrow. So I'll probably have a montage of me drinking this over the next half hour and maybe getting in some clear liquids throughout the rest of the evening. And I might even do a counter for how many bowel movements I have, just out of curiosity. I won't have any graphic information, but I may just do like a tally mark to see if it's as bad as advertised. Because normally when I counsel my patients on colon screening, for a colonoscopy at least, I tell them that you'll probably poop your guts out over the preceding day, but the actual test isn't that big of a deal because you're asleep. So we'll see if that's really the case or not. But I guess we'll cue the montage now as I take in more of this nasty tasting stuff. Oh. Here we go again. I'm going to try to finish it. Oh, okay, we're done. All right, now that I've got the salt water out of the way, I'm going to follow that up with 16 ounces of Gatorade Frost, which tastes delicious. So, oh, that tastes so much better after that salty solution. Oh. So I'm going to work on this, and then I'll probably go with regular water for the last 16 ounces. And I have to complete all that in the next hour. And after that, it'll just be a matter of whenever I'm thirsty or hungry, getting in some clear liquids. So I've got some of those. It's going to be super sugary and not very satisfying, but that's what it is. So. And now to complete the prep, I'm going to drink 16 ounces of water. Over time, not all at once. And this cool water actually tastes better than the Gatorade after how incredibly salty that salt solution was. The prep is complete. Now I have to wait for things to start rumbling. Well, this is the BM counter, and a little over an hour after starting the salt solution, things have started getting moving. So here we go. It's dinner time with my clear liquid dinner here. We've got some chicken broth, some Jell-O, and some apple juice. We found out when we were looking at the nutritional facts for the Jell-O that these were 0 sugar. So these actually only have 10 calories each. And then the chicken broth, surprisingly enough, has only 15 calories for the whole can. I did add some olive oil to this to add a few more calories and some healthy fats, but pretty low calorie. Actually, the apple juice is going to be the heavy lifter for the calories for this meal. But we'll get down these clear liquids and see what else I need to fit in later to fulfill my appetite. Well, last night went pretty well, and surprisingly, I'm not too hungry this morning. I thought I was going to be starving, but maybe that'll come later. It's about 6 hours before my procedure, so I have to do another 16 ounces of that salt water solution medicine, and then I have to follow that up with 32 ounces of clear liquid. So I'm about to do that. I probably won't film it because I assume everything will be the same, and we'll see how that goes. It's lunchtime, and once again, I have my broth with some olive oil in it, 0 sugar Jell-O, and my glass of apple juice. This will be the last anything by mouth I can take in before my procedure in 4 hours. So this is going to have to do it, and I can't wait to have some real food after this colonoscopy is done. Well, I'm here at the endoscopy center. I'm ready for my procedure. I've got my IV in where they'll give me some medicine to put me to sleep, and that'll be the end of it. So it's go time. Well, the colonoscopy's done. Unfortunately, they found a polyp, and I've got no family history of that. It was 3 millimeters, so pretty small. And right now, before the pathology comes back, he's recommending coming back in 7 years. Now, if it's an adenomatous polyp, the kind that can be precancerous, then I'll have to come back in 7. But if it's a hyperplastic and benign polyp, then I can still do 10 and have it in the next one a screening colonoscopy. So we'll see how that goes. But the procedure was no big deal. They put me to sleep, and I was out right away, and really no problem with the actual procedure. The worst part probably was the prep, and not necessarily the bowel movements. The bowel movement counter came down to 14, but really it was the taste of the solution. That was the worst part for me. I hate salty fluids, like I said before, and to get that down, it was a struggle. After the first couple of drinks, I almost felt like it was going to come back up, like I was going to vomit it, but held it down. But that was by far the worst part. But the bathroom trips aren't a big deal. The actual procedure, not a big deal at all. They gave you propofol, which has no side effects afterwards except for a little bit of wooziness, but really not a big deal. So I've got some pizza here. I'm gonna rage on this when I get home because I'm starving. And colonoscopy, not a big deal. Super important to get that done because colon cancer rates are rising throughout the US at least. I don't know about internationally, but I would guess so, just because our diets are kind of getting more and more garbage over time. So get your colonoscopy, not nearly as big of a deal as you might think, and that way you can ensure that you don't have colon cancer sneaking up on you.